11, 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2. What a fight! I think Canelo won it.
Juan, the Hispanic causing panic, Lascano.
Smile from Manny Pacquiao. Oh, Canelo
Mano derecha en dos oportunidades. El Canelo alcanzó a hacer daño con él.
Thanks to those joining me live and those will be joining me on the archive. It's an archive. Hit that like button. Share this video on all your social media platform. Let's hit the like button, ladies and gentlemen. I mean, I'm sitting here half the time losing my voice to talk boxing with you guys. And like, we missed you. Where you at? Where you at? Where you at? These style. Can you hit the like button? Dun, dun, dun. Look, shout out to Anthony Sanchez and everybody watching. I'm going to ask a question. And you see the title, but before I do, shout out to Lyndon from the Boxing Deep Dive. Got this hoodie. Look at this hoodie. Not hoodie, what I'm talking about. This beanie. Okay. Shout out to Lyndon from Boxing Deep Dive. I got this beanie. Look at this. And like I was watching one of his I forget what it was. I was watching one of his when it was, I should say. I think it was like 2 weeks ago. Right. So I was watching one of his shows. It was very late at night because he's in Australia, right? So like they're awake and we're sleeping and vice versa. So anyway, although I'm like I have insomnia half the time. So I'm awake and I'm watching him, right? And I see the store, and then I'm like, this beanie spoke to me. You know what I mean? Like it kind of like you want to buy me. You know, and I was like, I swear to God, I heard it talk to me. I swear to God. Okay, this is living proof. It was talking to me. It's like, you want me. It's like, that's why Lyndon put it in the shop just for you. You know what I mean? And so I went ahead and I wanted to support. You know what I mean? So there you go. Make sure you subscribe to Boxing Deep Dive. All right. I like to support people. So there you go. So make sure you go subscribe. But anyway, with that said, plus I like the hoodie. I mean the beanie. I keep calling it a hoodie. I don't know why. What the fuck's wrong with me? What the hell's going on? Like, you know what I mean? Like what's but I like the beanie. All right. And look, we're gonna, and this is a test, we're gonna find out if Lyndon actually watches the show. Like, we're gonna find out if he actually watches. Like, you know what I mean? I'm just putting that out there. We're gonna find out. But let's see if there's like any mention of it. Like, you know what I mean? Like, these style boxing has Boxing Deep Dive beanie on during the show. We're gonna find out if he's actually watching the show. With that said, does Saul Canelo Alvarez get credit for beating Terence Crawford? Right? And I want to know what you think. Does he get credit? Yes or no? Like, go on record now. Don't wait until after the fight, then decide if you want to give him credit. I want to know now if he gets credit. Tell me now. Does he get credit? I think he gets a lot of credit. Like, the best credit score you can give him is the level of credit that he gets. Troy Max says, saludos, el sur de California. Oh, there you go. Shout out to you. Okay. Like San Diego or whatever. Where you at? Shout out to Remy. Salute. Another show. Hard working these. I appreciate the support. Shout out to Remy. Anthony Sanchez in the building. Not only does Canelo get credit, he gets a lot of credit. Because if Saul Canelo Alvarez doesn't get credit for beating Crawford, then, ladies and gentlemen, we're going to have to go back to the vault and decide how many fighters don't get credit for their wins, right? We're going to have to ask a serious question like this. So in that case, does Bernard Hopkins get credit for beating Oscar De La Hoya and Felix Trinidad since they moved up, right, in weight class and fought him? Does he get credit for those wins? Smaller guys moving up to fight him. He was the reigning middleweight champion of the world. Do we not give him credit? Right? Do we give Triple G credit for his win over Cal Brook? Do we? I mean, you tell me. I'm just asking the questions. Does Floyd Mayweather get credit for his win over Juan Manuel Marquez? Does he get credit for that win? And as I mentioned on the show prior, does Hagler get credit for his win over Roberto Duran? Does he get credit for that win? I don't know. You tell me, right? You tell me. I'm asking you guys a question. So why shouldn't Canelo get credit for a win over Terence Crawford? Because of all the examples I gave you, you know what Terence Crawford is? He's undefeated. Terence Crawford's considered top pound for pound fighter on the planet right now. And Terence Crawford has been pursuing the fight. And we have people, a lot of boxing minds out there saying they believe Terence Crawford could beat Saul Canelo Alvarez. Those are the type of things that they're saying. Right? So when you really look at it, when you really stop and think about it, should Saul Canelo Alvarez get credit for beating Terence Crawford? Right? Should he or should he not? And not every example I gave you is exactly the same, but a lot of them are similar, right? And the circumstances weren't quite the same, right? Roberto Duran wasn't an undefeated fighter when he went up to fight the great Marvin Hagler, marvelous Marvin Hagler. He wasn't. Should he not get credit for that win? You know, we could keep going back to the vault. We could keep doing this. It doesn't have to stop now, right? Should Bivol get credit for his win over Canelo? Why not? Right? I mean, if we, and if not, then you need to explain why. Explain to me without, like, because at some point you're going to run out of reasons to not want to give Canelo this credit. Sure, one example, you know, you could say, wow, it's different because of this and that, but then I give you another example, and then it could contradict what you're saying, and then before you know it, you're kind of stuck, right? Like, not only does he get credit, and I'm not, by the way, I'm not the one saying he doesn't. I'm saying he does get credit. And I give credit to Bernard Hopkins for beating Trinidad and De La Hoya. I'm not greedy with the credit. I give credit where credit is due. I give Marvin Hagler credit for beating Roberto Duran. Right? I give Canelo credit for going up in weight and beating, well, that's different when he went up in weight and beat Kovalev, but I give Bivol credit for defeating Saul Canelo Alvarez. That was a great win for Bivol. I give them their credit. So we're not going to do this thing where the rules are different for Canelo. Like it's just because certain people don't like Canelo and you know what I mean? Or there's just people out there that want to be fair. I'm going to be fair. I don't want to come off as a biased Canelo fan. So I'm going to say that I'm just going to agree with the people attacking Canelo. I'm going to be weak and feeble and just agree. Even though they're being unfair to Canelo, right? I'm just going to be fair and allow them to be unfair and continue to act like I'm being fair. Just Hagler versus Hearns, but people say, "Well, yeah, but Hearns was a big guy. He fought all the way up to this weight class." But but still, yes, you can, that can apply. Do we give credit where credit is due for some? And if not, explain to me why. It's what I want to know, right? By the way, Canelo did not pursue this fight. This is the fight that was presented, and the robber barons of Saudi Arabia are like, we will pay for that. We want that fight, and we need to do the fight. And Kendrick Lamar's out here calling out Canelo. That they're questioning his man. You don't want to fight this. You don't want to fight Crawford. What's up? Are you scared? Well, what is it? Right? And then so keep in mind that Canelo's the one that was not pursuing this fight. The one that was pursuing this fight was Terence Crawford. Why is that important? That's important because Bernard Hopkins was calling out Oscar De La Hoya and Felix Trinidad and was more than willing of those guys to move up in weight and fight him. And he got all types of credit when he beat those guys. A lot of people, including myself, call Bernard Hopkins an all-time great, and they always list those 2 wins, including myself. But I need to stay consistent, ladies and gentlemen. And I got to give that credit to Canelo when he beats, Crawford. I mean, we're not going to change the standard, right? I'm not going to say otherwise just because I'm scared of somebody saying, "Oh, you're just saying that because you're Mexican. And you're being biased because you're Mexican." That's what it is. You don't need to be scared of just calling it down the middle and just being honest, right? We're living in an age where Australian people I know, people from England that I know, people from other parts of the world are giving Canelo more credit than his own people. This is the world we're living in, right? Because you don't want to be called biased, because you don't want to be, you want to be fair. You're too stuck in this thing, right? Why does he not get credit, full credit, top of the line credit, plus 800 level credit for beating Terence Crawford? Get all the other examples I gave you, they got all the credit in the world, right? All the credit. They couldn't stop giving, all these other fighters credit. But for Canelo, the rules change, right? You guys keep saying, "Oh, this is a big fight. The fight with Sal, it's generational." But luck, and I was hearing Canelo doesn't want it. Canelo's scared. Canelo knows Crawford's styles are wrong for him. He wants no piece of Crawford. He wants nothing. And then the fight gets signed. All of a sudden, the energy is changing. All of a sudden, right? They're puffing the chest out. Well, he don't get credit anyway. Ha! He's going to get no credit. He loses or he doesn't win anything. We are not going to do that. We are not going to stand back and just allow that to just happen. That's not going to happen, ladies and gentlemen. Right? That will not happen when other guys fight dudes moving up in weight class all the time and lose, and fight guys moving up in weight class all the time and get all the credit in the world. We're not going to just do that. No, we are not. So Crawford is everything that people have said he is. A generational great, a fighter that could fight in any era, right? And super talented, top of the line, pound for pound fighter is what Crawford is. Undefeated, undisputed in 2 weight classes, champion at lightweight, champion at junior welter, and now super welter. Right? 4 weight classes, ladies and gentlemen, is where he's been champion at. And he has been what he's calling for this fight. And there's people saying that he could win the fight, and are saying he will win the fight, and they're saying it with confidence. We're not going to sit back, right? I don't have a problem with them saying that. It's boxing. People are allowed to have their opinion. If you believe Crawford could win, stand on it. But we're not going to do this thing where Canelo doesn't get his credit if and when he beats Bud Crawford. And he will beat Bud Crawford. While there's legends, Hall of Famers, that had no problem calling out smaller men. Marvin Hagler kept calling out, almost begging Ray Leonard to fight him. Got angry when Leonard wouldn't move up to fight him. People were questioning Ray Leonard's heart and his balls. People called Ray Leonard a cherry picker because he wouldn't move up and fight Hagler. People still get on him for making it seem like he was going to fight Hagler, then he did it, then he retired. They still get on Leonard for that, even though he was a little dude at welterweight. And Hagler was the one calling for the fight. He wanted to fight. Eventually they fought. I'm glad they fought. Historic fight. Could have gone either way. And people have no problem arguing to the death that they feel Hagler should have won. I don't hear any talk about, oh, no, Crawford. I mean, yeah, he won, but he was a much bigger guy. So I'm glad he didn't get the decision because he shouldn't get any credit for struggling with a much smaller guy. You never hear any of that nonsense. People just talk about like a normal two greats fought, one won, and that's how they debate it accordingly. And that's how we're going to do this fight. That's how we're going to do this fight. At the end of the day, Bud Crawford is the one that wants to move up, is challenging Canelo, has been egging on the fight, has been begging for the fight, and he's used his sugar daddy, Turk Al-Sheikh, to demand that fight. Right? And now Canelo's considering it. And apparently it's almost a done deal for September. What's the source? Ring. The Ring's the source, which Turk Al-Sheikh owns. So I think it's okay to say with confidence the fight's probably going to happen. Right? That's right, Mario Peep. Crawford asked, he demanded this. This is what Crawford did. Crawford's the one that wants this fight. So people can put it however they want to put it. So when and if Canelo beats him, Canelo's going to get all the credit in the world like everyone else has gotten credit in the past. And if and when Canelo beats him, right, he's going to get full credit, and that's just the way it's going to be. Simple as that, right? And there's a lot of individuals out here that are talking about this fight. No, keep boomerang. It's not. I understand that this is the perception, but we're not going to allow that. All right? Boomerang says, lose situation for Canelo, and I'm not a fan of Canelo. Crawford not convinced me at 160 or 168 after the fight against Madrimov. Well, here's the deal, okay? The reality is this. For so many years, and this is including even the most diehard Canelo fans, they stand back, they sit back, all right, and they're just like me, right? All these narratives get pushed out, and people just sit back and me. That's all they're doing. They just sit back and just allow all the narratives, all the negatives, all the loses, right? Everyone's allowed to just throw accusations out there. They're allowed to just say anything they want against Canelo. They keep moving the goalposts. They just keep doing it over and over and over again. They just get away with it, and they feel like they can get away with it. That's why they keep doing it, right? And this isn't enough pushback. That's just the reality, right? And why isn't there enough pushback? And there's people that they're scared of being called a fanboy. They're scared of being called biased. They're scared of all these labels, right? So they don't want to do it. But they're going to do it anyway. They already do it, right? I'm going to play you a clip. Let me pull it up here, okay? This is Andre Ward a couple of years ago on Max Boxing, okay? This was a couple years back. I'm going to play this for you. And you tell me. I mean, I don't know, man. And then we're going to talk about it.
Andre Ward comes out of retirement to fight Canelo at 175. Who do you think wins? That's a really good question. Once upon a time, Andre Ward. But given what Canelo looked like against Kovalev and how active he's been, and given the fact that Andre hasn't fought in a long time now, Andre only wins that fight if he's 100% dedicated to it. That's a very dangerous fight.
With Joe Saunders, you know, like I know, Max, Canelo Alvarez is very, very strategic and has been very, very strategic. And people don't talk about this, about his opponent selection. Canelo Alvarez has a lot of names on his record, but not a lot of prime names. A couple prime names he fought, it either was a close fight, or in the case of Floyd Mayweather, he got beat. So I would love to see him against Billy Joe Sanders to see how he deals with a slick southpaw who won't be afraid of him. I also wish that Callum could get the shot too, because he's been clamoring for a big shot. The game is different, man. It's a lot of strategy.
Did you hear what he just said? Now, Ward is still saying the same bullshit today. Well, we know Canelo, man, he's being strategic, man. You know what I mean? And I created a whole podcast just to talk about it all the time. Andre Ward created a podcast just so you can complain about Canelo, right? And to do the whole woe is me thing with him and other fighters. That's why he created a podcast. So him and other fighters can sit around and just like feel sorry for themselves and talk about how unfair the pain public is to them, right? Yeah, these fans, man, they just don't understand, you know, the work that we put in. And the thing is, you know, that's all. Woe is me. I'm the victim. But then look at Canelo, and he gets everything, and he's been very strategic with everything. He's been scheming with everything. You know, Canelo, he doesn't, he's done everything and everything. I mean, he's still saying the same thing. The names have switched. It's like a glitch in the Matrix or something. The Matrix totally forgot to change the talking points. Right? Then it was Billy Joe. Oh, Billy Joe. He's got to fight Billy Joe. Billy Joe, he's got the style. He's got the style to be Canelo. He's southpaw. He's slick. You know what I mean? Well, why? Like, he's being strategic, avoiding guys like Billy Joe. And Callum Smith even said. Callum Smith was waiting for his shot, he said. Callum Smith was the champion. What do you mean his shot? But you know why? Because he had just knocked out Kovalev, right? And he beat Rocky Fielding. So people decided, you know what? He's never going to fight. This is when they were saying he wouldn't fight Callum Smith. Why did he fight the real WBA champion? Why did he fight the regular WBA champion? This is the problem with guys like Canelo. Blah, blah, blah. And then he fights Callum Smith. Beats him. And then it's like, they don't care. Like, Callum's been turned into a bum overnight. He's a Euro bum overnight. He was calling for him to fight Billy Joe. Meanwhile, Billy Joe wasn't fighting anybody. Billy Joe Saunders and Callum Smith get away with not unifying. They were both in matchroom. They get away with not fighting each other. They get away with avoiding each other. They don't need to do anything. Benavidez and Caleb Plant, they're both at PBC. They're both world champions. They had a long-ass time to. They don't need to do anything. Right? There's no pressure on the champions to fight each other. None. Canelo and I just fought Rocky Fielding. He's like, dipped his toe in the water. And they're already calling for the man. He needs to fight all these dudes now. Why didn't he fight Callum Smith? And nobody was talking about the size of Callum Smith. Nobody's saying this dude's 6'4", probably weighs close to 200 pounds on fight night or whatever. No, nobody was talking about his length and how tall he is and how big he is, how strong he is, how he's natural to the weight class. And Canelo was coming from a lower weight class. Ain't nobody was talking about that shit. Nobody was saying, oh, but yeah, Callum should fight Canelo. He gets no credit. That was not the language being used. And they weren't using that language with Billy Joe Saunders either. Nobody was saying, hey, Canelo never, come on, what do you mean? Why should he fight Canelo at? I know they both were at middleweight before, but I don't know, man. Well, why do you guys just want to push Canelo against these bigger guys so quick? Like, nobody was saying shit like that. And I'm not saying they should, but I'm not the one that talks like that. Andre Ward used to say names like Billy Joe, but you see, once Canelo beat those names, then he just switched the names around. And then it was Caleb Plant. Remember the saying that Caleb Plant could beat Canelo? He has a style to beat Canelo, and then Canelo beats him, and it's like it didn't matter what he said, right? Like all of a sudden, it just doesn't matter. He just keeps changing the goalposts. That's his go-to move, right? And everything he accuses Canelo of doing, it's all projection, all of it. It's all projection, right? Oh, but Canelo, he's a type that he likes to bring guys down, right? When it was Bivol, like even when it's the other guys having these demands, right? Andre Ward finds a way. Woe is me, Andre Ward finds a way to flip it and somehow make it Canelo's like initially that came up with Canelo, right? That's what all people do, right? Miguel Cotto could demand a catchweight like he did against Martinez and everybody else when he fought at middleweight, right? But they blame Canelo for the catchweight against Cotto, even though Cotto was the champion and it was his clause. Well, that doesn't matter. Like, well, he fought in a catchweight. He fought. That's all. Like, it just doesn't matter. Facts be damned. Like, it doesn't matter because you don't like Canelo. In the case of Andre Ward, like what he did to Shad Dawson, right, is what he was accusing Canelo of supposedly trying to do to Bivol, even though it was Bivol saying, I want to fight for the undisputed 168. That's what I want. That was a condition of Bivol's. If you want the rematch, I want to fight for all the belts in 168. That was Bivol saying that, but for some reason, Andre was, Canelo, you know what he's going to do? He's going to bring these guys down. He's going to weight drain them, and that's what he does. That's what you did to Shad Dawson, motherfucker. That's the reality. All right? What are we doing? We have dudes that are, while respecting the boxing world, their whole MO is just, let me just attack Canelo. Let me provide this red meat because there's people that just eat it up, right? So that's what's happening. And somebody put the names, and I agree, Bradley, Shakur, Paulie, Teddy Atlas. It's just what they do, right? Teddy Atlas will talk about Lomachenko like he's this flawless dude, right? But then he has all the smoke for Canelo, right? And I love Lomachenko, but I mean, it is what it is. So my issue is, woe is me podcast aside. That's all the thing is. It's about how the fans don't understand this. The fans don't understand that. Why don't you do a podcast just educate people instead of being being such a dick to people? How about they don't understand this, they don't understand that. That's not, let me just put this out there. It's not the fans' responsibility to understand the business. You're a consumer. You're here to buy what you want to buy, right? They're supposed to be catering to you. They're supposed to be selling it to you, and they're supposed to convince you to buy it. This isn't a charity. Shout out to Remy, says, great. Appreciate it, brother. And you wouldn't even think I'm an Andre Ward fan. But I got to call a spade, right? And what I'm going to say to a lot of Latinos out there, especially Mexican and Mexican Americans, okay, what I'm going to tell you right now, right? I'm not asking you to do anything other than just fucking tell the truth. That's all I'm asking you to do. And to keep the same energy. You can't go around just allowing all these other fighters to get passes on everything, right? And just sit back and then even go as far as to co-sign some of the disgusting shit that's said about Saúl Canelo Álvarez. Because you want to prove you're not, oh, look at me. I'm the Mexican that isn't biased. Just because you want to do that. That's very important for you. It's getting tiring, right? Being on this platform, being one of the few voices, right? that speaks out for Canelo, and I hear it all. I always get it, right? I always get the, oh, you're just a fanboy. Oh, yeah, because you're a big fan. You know what? I am a fan of Canelo. Yes. So what? Is that what you're afraid of? Oh, look at me. I keep it real. Like you know what I mean? Like, what are we doing? Now, if Canelo does something that warrants criticism, then criticize him. I've given Canelo the quote unquote smoke, but I try to be like principled on my stances. I cannot allow a narrative to be spinned about Canelo. Meanwhile, I watch all these other fighters act way worse, accomplish way less. I just sit back and let it be, right? That's just not going to happen. Andre Ward had all the smoke for Canelo when Canelo fought Rocket Fielding, and like, come on, when is he going to fight Billy Joe? I mean, it's obvious he's moving a certain way, right? But when Ward moved up one weight class, the only weight class he ever moved up to, 175, when Ward finally did that, he fought Alexander Brand. I forgot the name of the other dude, right? Okay, he had some quote unquote tune up. He didn't jump right in there with the very best dude. But he felt compelled to have a different standard for Canelo that he didn't have himself. That type of bullshit needs to get called out. I'm just going to put that out there. And it is sad when I'm listening, and I know a lot of content creators from all over the world, right? And I get asked things from friends from England and shit like that. Like, they're asking me things like, hey, why isn't Canelo appreciated more? Like, they're asking the sort of type of questions they ask me, right? And I'm like, well, I don't know. I appreciate him. You know what I mean? But like, I can't speak for everybody else. And being scared and hiding in the shadows, and not speaking out, right? Because you're scared of being like labeled bias, or you're scared of somebody saying that you're being tribal, or whatever labels they want to put on you, right? Whatever it is, you don't need to be scared, right? If someone's being tribal, you can prove they're being tribal. You can look at their pattern of behavior and point it out, right? But just speaking of, like, everything I've said, I can prove it with facts. All of it. So it just is what it is. We're going to leave it at that. Canelo gets credit for the win. Like, all the legends got credit when they beat a guy, especially a great fighter, moving up, right? Because at the end of the day, this is a generational fight. And I'm going to tell you right now, I don't have a problem saying this at all. I think Canelo has better defense than Crawford. I think he has better waist movement than Crawford. I think he has better head movement than Crawford. There's other things Crawford does better than Canelo, and vice versa. But this is not like, I keep hearing people talk about this like they're describing Canelo like he's Isaac Cruz. You know what I mean? That's how they're describing him. And they're talking about Crawford like he's Pernell Whitaker or something, like his style. Like, that's not what this is, right? And that's all I'm going to say about that. Okay. So, and Troy Mack has a point. Like, people pay to watch Canelo. So the paying public, by paying for his fights, show, right, how much he's appreciated. And then the ones that actually pay get demonized, right? Let's think about that. All the freeloaders that don't pay for anything feel compelled to tell paying customers that watch Canelo fights to call them fanboys and tell them like, oh, they're dumb, they'll buy anything, and blah, 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 blah. You got Benavidez, right, saying, yeah, because he has his fans will support anything, and then like what are we doing? Well, why don't your fans buy your fights? So why don't you ask those questions? Why are people buying your fights? Why don't we ask that? Why can't you get like a $5 million gate for one of your fights? if you want to be the arbiter of appreciation and you want to be the arbiter of like what like all that crap, right? Well, why don't you show and prove? And if not, then maybe a lot of people need to ask themselves, what the fuck's going on, right? The reality is we have a bunch of grifters here on YouTube, right? That profit off of anti-Canelo, content. That's just what it is, okay? And it's cool. You want to support them and all that, but I guess a $5 super chat costs less than a $70 pay-per-view. All right? So it's easier to support that. So it just is what it is. I'm going to leave it at that. All right? With that said, yeah, totally. Like the dudes that don't pay for anything, right? The fan base isn't buying anything. It's going to lecture the ones that actually buy and support shit on like, what's up? Like, yeah, get the fuck out of here, okay? With that said, this is D-Style Boxing. Keep it boxing. I'm out. Peace.